here I am in hell, I guess. So there's that. Today we wanted to talk a little bit about what is hell. How do we understand it? What does the Bible say about it? Why do we talk about it? Why are some people so passionate about it? And talk a little bit about what it is and why it is and what it isn't. And smells. Ooh, stinks down here. Anyway, let's get going. So, first question I always have is, where is hell? I always think about it like down there somewhere. I was on a trip one time. I was riding around on a tourist bus in Jerusalem, and somebody pointed out the window and they said, over there is this place down in that valley right there, and it's called Gehenna. And you might not know that you know that word, but you do, because the word that you see in your Bible as hell is actually the word Gehenna, which means something like the Valley of Hinnom. My mind was blown. I was looking across a highway and through a falafel stand down into the pits of hell, which just kind of had like apartments in it now. Maybe a couple of little archaeological places. I was looking at it. There it was. So way back in the day, what was this Valley of Hinnom? Why did it take on such a mythical identity? Well, so back in the day, when the kings of Judah were around, there was Ahaz and Manasseh, right? Ahaz and Manasseh of Judah. And unfortunately, they had a little problem of having children with women who weren't following the same gods as the God of Judah. Whoopsie. And the practice then was to sacrifice children to pagan gods. King Ahaz and grandson King Manasseh. Come on. But this would be the place where that would happen. There's this place for burnt sacrifices to pagan gods. Eek! Later on, when the Romans were occupying, it was a place where the Roman soldiers would practice cremation of bodies. So there's this fiery pit of dead bodies and occupation armies and lots of bad stuff. So where is hell? Well, it's kind of at the side of the road in Jerusalem today. But back in the day, it was this kind of outside the city wall place of garbage dump and death and destruction and fire and stink and blah. But it was right there. People would know it as that place. So it became known as this kind of metaphor for the bad place, associated with sinful behavior, torment and punishment, and this kind of ill-thought sacrifice and not being true to the God of Israel. You can see why it becomes a useful metaphor by the time Jesus is teaching. By then, it was part of the rabbinical tradition to talk about Gehenna as a kind of a metaphor for distance from God, of torment, of punishment, of a place of disconnection from the holy. So, maybe another good question is, what isn't hell? Well, translators pretty much agree that hell is not Hades. Hades is used in other parts of the Bible, but it's borrowing from the name of the Greek god of the dead. That's closer to something like the unseen place where all the dead go. Think kind of purgatory-ish. John Wesley made distinction between kind of Hades, this place where the dead wait, and then at the judgment day, there's this moment where some people are cast into Gehenna and others head to heaven. But all that aside, it also is not Tartarus, which is another kind of delving into Greek mythology. But hear how it kind of sounds similar to what we might think of when we hear the word hell. Tartarus was the great abyss in Greek mythology, where souls were judged. According to Plato, the wicked received divine punishment. So I guess the other question from my mind is, why why is hell? Why do we have hell? Well, as a good rabbi, Jesus used this traditional understanding of Gehenna or hell as an image to help his followers compare and contrast how they were living to the way that God hoped, or God hopes that we still will be living. So in Matthew 5, he says, not only does murder lead you to a tormented distance from God's goodness, but even anger might leave you there. Just being angry with your neighbor might lead you there. In Mark 9, Jesus teaches, children totally get me. And you should be like them. And if you do anything to keep them from me, or if you harm children, you're hurting yourself. And you're heading into an existence harmful to God's desires for the world. It's always in that kind of relationship between how we are now and what God hopes we will be. In Luke 12, Jesus says to those following him that God doesn't forget any of them. But he says those who may kill your body, they may be left in the fires of Gehenna. And in James 3, he asks, do you praise your Lord with the same mouth that you curse other people? James describes sometimes our words as tongues set on fire by hell. This moment where, again, our behavior is kind of put into context when we kind of have an image of the ultimate distance from God. So, where is hell? Well, it was this place. What is hell? Become known as this kind of metaphor that maybe we can still find a way to engage with. A way to say, God really does call us to a kind of living. And there are certain ways of living that just lead us in a different direction. A direction that can be tormented and really hurtful. And I guess I'm okay with that. I'm also okay kind of understanding that something in our history where you can go to archaeological digs and you can find the bones of the children who were sacrificed. That helps me to understand that sometimes hell is real. Sometimes the distance that we put between ourselves and God is totally real. And I'm glad for Jesus calling me back away from that distance. But I gotta get out of here. It's getting hot. It still smells. I don't think it's me. But just remember, Gehenna, not Hades, not Tartarus. Whew.
Hey everybody, Deacon Sarah here with a few announcements as we wrap up this week. First, if you see Doris Hall this week, it is her 30th anniversary with us, and so give a happy 30th to Doris. Give her a high five and tell her how much we appreciate her, and we just love her here at Birmingham First. The next announcement is that our canned food drive is continuing through the months of October and November. So bring your canned foods in, and we're having a little competition similar to how we did the collection with the socks. So each small group will be entered to win something fun at the end of our canned food drive. The last announcement is that when our pumpkins arrive, whenever that might be, we will need lots of help unloading them and also to sign up to help sell them. So as soon as our pumpkins arrive, we will do an email blast and put it out on social media, and you will be the first to know, and so you can get some volunteer hours in. Check our weekly newsletter for any other updates or special announcements, and you can find that by going to our main website, clicking the connect button, and signing up for either the middle school or the high school newsletter. We hope that you have a great week. We love you. We'll see you soon.